Hi, this is Lourdes for HealingCrystals.com.
And this is Tara for HealingCrystals.com.
Today's video is on creating grids. We have another one already up, and that's an introduction. So please watch that one first before going to this one.
Right, but what we thought we would do is we would give you a little bit more of a demonstration, if you will, about how you could create healing grids, either very, complicated ones or very simple ones, because grids can be, you'll see this grid over here is, it's beautiful and it's got a lot going on to it, but you can also create a very simple, very quick grid as well. As I was saying to Lourdes, I have a cat, okay? And those of you who have cats know, if you put crystals out there, they're just going to walk right through it and throw things around. So unfortunately, I'm not able to keep a lot of grids up in my home for a long period of time because somebody likes to bat the crystals around. So what I like to do is I like to create very simple grids that are easy to put together, and then when they come apart, I can put them back together again very easy. Like for instance, if you wanted to create a very simple but effective healing grid, you would take a main crystal, and this is usually the crystal that's going to embody, my main focus for the grid. And since this is healing, I'm using a fluorite, so I'll use a fluorite in the center. And then around the center crystal, I'm going to use other crystals that will bring in the same energies, but they also ground the energy as well. Now for this one, I'm going to use malachite, and I'm using some of my malachite jewelry because I couldn't find the others. But malachite, again, it's very healing, but it's also very grounding. It has a very earthy quality. So I've got a mix of the fluorite, which is kind of water energy and also a little bit of air energy, and then I've got the malachite that gives you a little bit of earth energy and a little bit of fire energy. So I'm kind of mixing my elements there. And then once I've got that going, I'm going to throw in some amplifying crystals. To me, these are often the most important because this is what will amplify the energy. And I'm using clear quartz because, well, first of all, if you ever order from HealingCrystals.com, you've probably got a lot of these as well. But also because, wow, look at how pretty that looks shining off there. Isn't that nice?
I am looking at the shine.
See? Here you have a very simple, and what did it take me to put that together? Like 1-2 minutes? A very simple, effective healing grid. I'm also using a little bit of numerology in there because I've got 7 crystals, and 7 is the number of faith. So I have faith that this is going to bring health into my home. You can always switch it out. If I wanted to switch it out, I could put an amethyst in the center of it as well to bring in that kind of energy. If I feel like maybe the malachite is a very strong crystal, I could put in a clear quartz also to bring in, to kind of send more of the energy out. And then finally, another thing that I like to do with them is I like to use these little mirrors that I got from the craft store, because mirrors are reflective and they will reflect the energy out throughout my home as well.
It's very pretty.
Thank you. And it's very simple and it's very easy. And then of course, while I'm building it, I have the intention in my head of what I want it to do. And if by a miracle it stays up, every time I walk by it, sometimes I'll think about it. I'll just wave my hand over it. Ooh, I just felt all that energy just ran right through
Ever
me.
since you did, I could feel it better. And I was like, ooh, this is so nice.
See? Yes. I just felt all that energy running through me. So that's how I like to create a very simple and not throw my crystals on. Lourdes, how about you? How do you like to do your crystal grids?
Okay, I go even simpler.
Okay.
Only because
I like that.
Yeah, I a lot of times I'm making grids on the go. I love grids, so I'm always experimenting. So the first thing I do is, for whatever intention I have, I grab a crystal, and let's say right now I'll use the apatite for communication. So I just take the apatite, and like Tara, I also agree, I use amplifiers. So we have collections from the ones from Healing Crystals because I love them. And I just go north. It's not north, south, east, and west right now, but you'll see north, south, east, and west.
Okay.
And voila, there goes the grid.
There you go.
If you wanted to, you could add more crystals in between, which is fine too. That works just as well.
Something else to think about, what we're using here, we're just using a blank piece of white paper just because for the camera it really shows up really nicely. I do a lot of my grids just on basic wood because, again, it brings that earth and grounding energy. I know, Lourdes, that you use a lot of patterns.
I use patterns. And for some of these patterns, if you've noticed this one, I love this pattern. It's a 5-star. You get them, if you go online, you can look up mandalas, free coloring mandalas.
Yep.
One, you could color it like I did this grid, but if you notice, it's grids within grids. So you can even cut this out and make that a simple grid. But you can also go, and even though I have this pattern, you could use it this way too. Don't think you're limited. You could use this pattern this way or this pattern.
Grids have no
This
limits
way
at all.
or
You
that
do
way.
what feels best for you. That's one of the best things about them. And I really like the idea of coloring in the grid.
Yes.
That really personalizes it, and you're bringing even more energy into it. Remember, the crystals, they do have their own energy, but it's what you put into that grid that's going to help you get the most out of it.
And you don't have to program them. People think that you have to program every crystal.
No,
you
do
don't
not.
have to do that.
Nope.
Now, here's another simple grid.
Crystals are pretty, they're a lot smarter than we give them credit for.
Yes, they are. People.
Oh, yes. I have a lot of these set up around my house.
If you need a simple, really simple grid, let's say you're traveling. Okay, right, this is Snowflake Obsidian. But let's say I want to make one for hotel rooms. I like carrying them in hotel rooms. I take tourmalated quartz on top of the obsidian. All right, that alone already is strong. But if I want to, then I could add the 4 quartz points.
I like the Snowflake Obsidian for traveling because
too.
I always feel like off balance when I'm traveling.
And you know what? Hotel rooms, you don't know who's been in there and what has been done in the hotel room. I'm sorry. You want to make sure that your room is nice and protected from any energy. You don't know who was arguing in there.
That is true.
I was like, no.
And that's the worst. That's the least of your worries.
Exactly.
Going on in a hotel room.
So this is what you do. You do something simple like this. I love the cards for this.
The cards are great for travel. I have the cards. I have them all over my desk at work.
Yes.
I have one in my bag right now.
Yeah,
I have the green aventurine I carry with me everywhere.
I have them in, in front of the computer, anything like that. So see what feels best. Now we're giving suggestions. Always personalized. Just don't go by what we're saying.
No.
For some of you, the cube may feel best. You may feel better with triangles or spheres. I like spheres as centers.
Yep.
So I play spheres. Shapes also have meaning. Cubes are very grounding. That's why I like these for anything protective. I want to ground that energy in.
Pyramids are very, very, they're, besides being amplifying, they bring a lot of energy in.
They focus.
From above and focus, absolutely.
And spheres are all around.
The same with your obelisks.
Yes. Your obelisk. If you're using a 6-sided shape, I like these for the home. So if you want to bring in loving energy to the home, use a 6-sided shape because 6 is the number for nurturing and for the home.
Yes.
So use that. Use the figure 8 for abundance. Branna did that on Facebook with grossular garnets. They were gorgeous. And citrine, she did a figure 8 with them, and that was a strong grid.
8's a fascinating number anyway because 8 is a very it's a very business-like, making money kind of a number, but it's also the number for infinity. Just look at it. So that's the kind of thing where you're creating abundance and you're going to keep the flow of it going, which is really nice when you use that. Yeah, it's a good idea, I think, to think about numerology and about all of the elements that are surrounding your grid when you're doing it.
And you may also want to check the numerology behind the crystal you're using. We have all this information on healingcrystal.com. If you go to any particular crystal, you will find that we give you what chakras it's good for, the numerology behind the metaphysical information is all there. So please check it out. It can give you so much more. So you can make something simple or really go way out, and
exactly. See, like this
one,
it's beautiful. It's it's a lot of thought and a lot of energy and everything like that.
It's for abundance.
Exactly.
But I don't have a cat.
No. So nobody's walking through her crystals.
No, and the nieces and nephews aren't here.
Unless the fairies are, but they're good. They're just going to take the crystals.
Yeah, they'll just take the crystals. But you can, and like for example, in this grid, I used everything for luck and abundance and prosperity. So I went with jade, citrine, lodestone, quartz, bloodstone, aventurine.
See, you've got a nice mix there. You've got some of the grounding crystals. You've got
some fire. And that's what you do. But that's advanced. when you're beginning, do something simple. Don't go advanced.
Go with your gut. Always, I'm a big believer in that, and I can't say it often enough. Follow your instincts. When you're looking at your crystals and you're thinking, feel how they want it, what they want to do, where they want to go, and you can't go wrong.
And Tara mentioned something very good, and she did it. She used her jewelry. Jewelry. Look you can use a necklace.
The bracelets.
The necklace, the bracelets.
Yeah.
You can put bracelets around a center stone. Here,
yeah, you could layer them.
You could layer them. You could put a center stone, and that's
Look
it.
at that.
Look at that. That is a grid for abundance right there.
Yep.
Look how much it took. That's clear quartz, citrine, and peridot.
And the peridot.
And that didn't take anything. So you don't have to go buy anything if you're not getting. And what I do is I save up the clear quartz points.
Oh, yeah. I just brought like a small amount that I had.
Yes, and we love them. I'm so happy when I get them, and I was like, I got another one.
I know, absolutely. And remember, if you know what, even if you don't want to use the clear quartz as an amplifier, selenite is another
excellent,
lovely amplifier. And you know what, you could even just put it right at the top, just like that.
Yes,
and that's going to amplify the energy.
And optic calcite.
Oh yes,
we love our optic. Do that too.
Yeah.
Something like this. It doesn't have to be really complicated at all.
Experiment, see how it feels, how it looks. And remember, you can always adjust it. You can adjust it every single day if you want to.
And you know what? One thing we forgot to mention. Do charge it occasionally. With the full moon, please do charge it because it'll become less effective after a while. It could be
as simple as walking by it and thinking about it.
Or putting your hand on it like you mentioned
before.
That's
what I like to do is I'll walk by and I'll think, you know what? Thank you for bringing, and thank you. Thank you for, bringing more abundance into my life. And there you go. It's charged.
That's all you have to do.
For healingcrystals.com, I'm Tara.
And I'm Lourdes.
Bye-bye.